All right. Welcome everybody back to the insert number of episodes here. Uh this
Four?
week I think this
Five?
is fourth or fifth. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So this week, the war obviously I was expecting it. I did not predict it was gonna start today, so I didn't have anybody lined up for that. But we do have Kill Bob and Uriah on, and we have some adventures of what do we want to call it? Adventures of new alliances to go through. But to kick it off, we did have Global War 20, um,
Three.
3, yes,
22. Is it 23?
22,
Fuck, I have
22,
no idea.
23. It's like right off 22.
It's
There we go.
22 then.
I'll take my son's word for it
My
since he's
mine
been
son
working
knows
on it.
everything. He's
Well, Wikimod, so he has to write all the scrap. Um, Kicked off today, and obviously it was Hollywood, which is, the TKR, Grumpy Guardian, and recently the Immortals, and they went ahead and hit Blackwater, which is the Citisphere plus Nexus Sphere. So, Nexus Block and affiliates. Um, and if you give me 30 seconds, I will scroll down and find a hearing chart somewhere that I'm sure I can't find what I need.
I can get to one from DNN if you want.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Sure they'll alright with that, right?
So the war kicked off. I believe the way I saw it pinged earlier was the Immortals leaked the war at about 6:40 p.m. It's about an hour and a half before DC. And not only did they completely leak the war via the announcements, they had their spy sheet dropped right into the public eye.
yeah, spy sheet's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. However, I mean, with 100 something members, it does happen. Hopefully, you can plug that hole. I will be offering you Epi's leak guard services. You'll come investigate. It'll just be about $5 billion paid directly to me, and he will be there. Hold on 1 second. So, yep, the leak came in, and I believe they started decking shortly around update. I'm not 100% sure on time frame. I was busy shoveling snow. Actually, is there anyone from Hollywood here that can talk? Yeah, 20 minutes before date change. Thank you. I see Tyrion's here. Would you be willing to talk, Tyrion?
20 minutes, not the worst, but that still sucks.
Okay. So soldier total. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Um, Tyrion?
No Tyrion?
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a no. No, I don't care about the leaks. I actually more curious about the war itself. Leaking is just a small part of it. So anyway, they leaked. There was declarations by most of the major alliances, and the only one that I see that has a direct CB is from Grumpy. I believe that was the one that actually included somewhat of a CB, even though it could easily be taken as a meme. Essentially, they're saying, why can I never find stuff when I need it? There we go, sweet Ronnie D. The curb stop at Nightfall, uh, isolating them while they're fighting a war at the start of IQ. The attacks during Quack, and then the curb stop with Rose. So they are dating back events that have happened over the past 3 years, 4 years now, and citing it as their CB, which, of course, Blackwater is disputing as being weak, but I don't know. If you can't have a good old revenge war, then what's the point? That's kind of my take. What do you think, Uriah?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it seems predictable, this war. Like once I saw Hollywood milling up, I knew it was like Blackwater. Really, it seemed like the only choice to make sense here.
Well, I mean, they do have a long-term rivalry.
Yeah,
Um,
so good old revenge is something this game tends to do repeatedly.
uh,
So yeah, no, I agree with your point.
so pretty good. I believe I didn't actually see the tearing graph myself as far as it goes. Let me pull it up real quick. I believe Hollywood does have the advantage, though.
Hollywood, I think, struggles a little bit lower tier.
Yep, here
Maybe.
we go. So Blackwater's red. So Blackwater does keep up until about City 25, and then it goes kind of back and forth. So this is actually way closer than I thought it was, other than the 40 plus. 40 plus,
Yeah,
great to Hollywood.
yeah. Hollywood's got that 40 plus range. There's you got Grumpy and Guardian. They exist.
Yeah, the City 12 range is getting decimated. That is where the wars are won and lost of 2014, for sure.
Yeah, 2014. Maybe 2016.
Yeah, it was probably closer to 2016. Uh, so, other than the 40, it actually, the graph kind of jumps back and forth. There's definitely a slight Hollywood in the upper tiers, I would say. But other than that, they're doing well. But those 40s hit down hard. Anybody who's been in an alliance without 40 up and have been nailed by them knows how impossible the task becomes. But we shall see how they fare. So far, the best of their effort I've seen has come out of the lengthy, and very salty ROH from the Syndicate, which I will link, and you're free to read yourself. But basically, boohoo, don't hit me. I want what's best for the game. Quoted Wana. That's a quote from Wana. Here you go. And yeah, that the ROH from Wana, I actually did laugh a little bit going through it because the irony, especially when he was talking about weak sphere and getting hit by bigger people, but I think I got my the last laugh on that one.
Yeah.
I meant to leave you unmuted. You're free to talk whenever you want. You are knowledgeable enough that I feel you should be able to talk.
Chooses to
Okay.
type.
Yeah, you're gonna type anyway. I guess I can send
Okay.
it.
I guess.
Um,
Or
in the
just mute
meantime,
him.
hey Graywall, how are you today? If you want to talk, you can talk. I want to ask you a few questions if you can. Yes, Graywall can. I, you know, never mind.
He's just a
It's okay.
wiki mod, mine some.
Exactly. Anyway, so Graywall, are you able to talk real quick?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, there we go. So I just have a interesting question. So you just signed into your new sphere, correct? Like 2 days ago?
About 2 days ago, yeah.
Uh, and then you were at war, what, a month before that in Mystery, correct? That was a month ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we just got done, I think, like a month ago with the last war.
now,
Yeah.
does Gato run post-war taxes?
Yeah, we had just recovered bank wise, and here we are in another war. So it's just kind of like, well, here we go again, guys. Electric Boogaloo Part 2.
Well, you know, your members are gonna have to be active. So, when you moved into Southern Militarization, what was your first reaction?
I mean, it's pretty good transition. Sunray's been really cool to us. Blackwater uh, welcomed us in. I know House Stark and TS were pretty chill about it. And then I think after a couple hours, everything was set. It's like, well, start militarizing because we're pretty sure it's coming for us. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be great to tell my membership. There's a war coming. Hey guys, we're in our new block. The bad news is there's a war in 48 hours.
Well, I mean, on the bright side of everything, you're a democracy, so they voted for it, so it's the members' fault.
Exactly. I can wash my hands of this entire situation. So it's like it's all of our fault for getting involved in this. But
If
no,
there's a plus for democracy in PNW, I guess it is that the leader's like, well, I mean, the members voted.
I did a slight nudge in the voting process, but you guys are ultimately at fault, so it's not my fault.
Now, did the militarization start before or after you signed?
It started around the same time everyone else started milling up because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't
I
know.
meant, did you sign them before or after? Like, did you sign into them as the militarization was happening? Or is
Well,
that like you signed and everybody started milling?
talk started back in the 17th, and this was right around when TCW had left, and we were talking about what the future of Gato and Mystery would be, and just a lot of things floating in the air. But we finally came together as an alliance, decided to pursue the offer Sunray made to us, and we made a vote and moved very slow because democracies move slower than molasses in the winter. We don't get anything done fast, and of course, there's this milling up. We have no idea what Hollywood was going to do, and then we get accepted about 2 days ago, and here we are. Just
So how does it feel being a meat shield?
I'm sorry, what?
How does it feel being a meat shield?
I've always been a meat shield, so I mean, it's just what it is, I reckon, man. It's just I put one meat shield suit on and changed it out for another one.
I like that attitude. We need more alliances like that.
I mean, it sucks. We have no
No.
tie to the whole war, but you know, we're not gonna just sit there and pout and bitch. We're gonna play and fight the war out, and it'll be all good. You know, we're performing pretty decently. TKR, you know, they're one of the alliances I kind of measure against for military performance. So if we do well, then hey, we made improvements since last time we fought them. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Very fair, very fair. How you doing today, Pre?
Oh, I'm just thrilled to have my afternoon interrupted by a war.
What? You're in Hollywood, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Guardian. I've got 5 out of 5 offensive slots going. Yay.
Are you winning?
Yeah, the two guys that had a chance, like let's say some people tried to suicide into me, two people that could have done something went suicide themselves into 5 offensive wars, so not too concerned anymore.
Well, you gotta love when that happens. You are one of the. Are you one of the 40 city plus people?
Yeah, I'm at 41 or 42.
Okay, so you're pretty much in that tier now that if they screw up, you just get to ride it out at that point.
Yeah, I'll probably maybe get 1 or 2 more targets for the rest of the war, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of action afterwards unless some counters come in, which could make things interesting, but I doubt anyone's going to want to step into this.
Fair enough. Now, what's your, I mean, opinion of the quoted CB on Grumpiest part, and more the response of Blackwater as a whole? I mean, they're quoting events coming back, like I said, I think it was 3 or 4 years now, as basically a revenge war, and they were getting called out for that being crap.
Well, the and this is coming from someone who actually hates Grumpy. Only refer to them as Gob. I can't stand SRD. So I their CB is fine by me. You can complain about it going back 3.5 years, but they're using that as an example of, look, this happened back then, we didn't do anything. Then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. Over the course of that period of time, several instances happened, and they're tired of letting things go. So it's not the revenge from 3.5 years ago. It's been building for 3.5 years, and the last instance was the straw that broke the camel's back. So it's really not as flimsy of a CB as they're trying to make it in the way that CBs go anyway.
I actually definitely agree. And then other than that, I didn't actually see a CB on the portion of Hollywood. Did I miss one?
I don't. Guardian. Their government, our government, isn't really around the forums that much. Like, if anything, they're on there usually not signed in. They don't have a lot of posts. We don't post a lot of CBs from what I've seen, unless we're the one pushing the action. But Guardian doesn't seem to be the one out in front pushing the action. If anything, they're just supporting their allies and what their allies want, because typically what's good for your allies is good for you to an extent. So I think we're just more of a supporting someone else's war. That I don't know if we officially have like a mutual aggression pact with them. I know we've got the defense stuff, but if maybe we have a mutual aggression, so we're required to help them. But that's what we're doing.
So you've been in Guardians since you kind of retired, right?
Not really. I started in Guardian when this game switched over from Speed Round into the current round that it's in. I then kind of retired from Guardian long ago, went to Test, retired from Test, went to Inactivity for a bit, and then came back into Clan Nightfall effectively. From there, I went into Yar, though. Yar is where I retired for
Ah,
like
yes,
2 years.
that's right. Now I do have one big question for you. Tests today, is that tests? Do you see that as any as kind of holding up to your I don't want to say image, reputation, the reputation you left behind with tests?
the I mean, ultimately they're not my test, and that's just the way every test after is going to be. Neither my test isn't like the test before. I didn't create Terminus S. Terminus S comes from actually roots of Guardians formation over 12 years ago. So those people have been around a long time. I don't know if any original members are actually still in Terminus S. My iteration of test had the most people sticking around, and then after that, there's very few originals that have been around. So, it Test is a book with many authors. This is just their chapter of it.
Like the way you look at that. Okay, so I actually didn't know that. I thought test was something you had formerly created. Okay.
I just took the wheel and started steering in crazy directions and got known for that.
Felt like I got a history lesson here.
Hey,
I've been
history
around for
lessons
way
are
too
Hey,
good.
long.
learn something new.
You can let pre-talk. You can learn a lot more about the game that nobody knows. Very few people are left to tell the stories, actually. Or people who actually know the stories are left. Sorry about that. Alright, let me see. Alright, so anyway, the war's going on. It was pretty well predictable. Glock did militarize in defense, and there's been a couple rumors circulating about that. One being that there's a rumor going that Clock was trying to get Hollywood to hit Blackwater, while also trying to get Blackwater to hit Hollywood. And there, I guess there were the rumors were afraid that they had decided to exchange notes and figured it out. And then obviously you can base it off the double aggression they had this past month ago. So they militarized. They hopefully will demilitarize or not. We will see. But that's pretty
Yeah,
much it. I mean, the war is warring.
a war's being a war.
The way to look at this war, honestly, it's the product of kind of the other side's reason for attacking Hollywood originally. So you look back to Guns N' Roses, where Guardian, Grumpy, and TKR kind of went on the offensive. People argued that there's no real reason to do it, the weak CB or whatever, and Guardian and Grumpy and all them outperformed kind of the expectation. They were outnumbered, but the way the war timeline went out, they were able to succeed overall. And so they were bragging about it and being very cocky about it. And then you have the revenge of that, where Rose and TS kind of ganged up on the Sphere, and you have people like Ymir, who's notorious to tell everyone to get good whenever he's beating anyone, and how Syndicate's undefeated. And you have people like that being very cocky in public, and it builds that resentment of, well, if you've got a chance for revenge, might as well take it against people like Syndicate, who have become mouthy, or like in the previous war against SRD, who had become mouthy about, look how well we perform every war. You get those people publicly, people get happy to see him get hit.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. The being cocky and holding yourself up to that level, it makes it very entertaining to watch them get hit. And I'm sure it feels good for the people in Grumpy, Guardian, etc. actually be able to finally hit them in exchange of being hit. Um, I might be wrong. TKR hasn't really gone offensive in a while, have they? Let me think back.
It's been a hot second, I think, right? Like,
Guns N' Roses, and then the last one was. I don't think they've been offensive in quite some time, right? Someone can probably
was
fact check
Guns.
me.
They've been getting the short end of the stick since Nightfall,
Yeah,
more often than not.
Yeah, they tend to be in defensive wars more often. Yeah, especially since Nightfall.
so I am happy to actually see them get the chance to declare a war. Um, so it's a nice change of pace, and then it is interesting to see the actually what I thought was really interesting was see the turnaround on the war from the time frame that Tyrion stated that they were in talks with Hollywood, and entered, to the time frame that they apparently plotted this war and executed. Because the way I saw the numbers, I didn't see there would be like any chance they would have taken this fight without the Immortals. I don't think the numbers would have worked at all for them. So I mean this. So with that being thought, I mean they would have had to plan this in like a week
Yeah,
and a half.
they wouldn't have been able to even like remotely compete in the lower city counts without the Immortals. So yeah, you're right. They would have to, in order to like make this war work in any way, have them.
Yeah, which is really good. I'm interested to see Tyrion and the Immortals put out and actually get the chance to, fight a war where they have more of a uh, leverage to be able to show what they're capable of, other than the last war, which there's just like no chance in it, obviously. And then and they also get their revenge on Blackwater a lot quicker than they probably originally intended. So I think that's a win-win. All right. But that is Global War 22 starting. Hopefully, this war will actually be interesting and people will be political and yell at each other instead of just continuously shake hands. So there'll be more content to come. But we are going to dig into some. I don't want to say drama, but I'm going to say drama for the sake of it. So Uriah, you created a new alliance this week. Well, recreated, created. Go ahead and explain what
Yeah,
you did.
it's so for a while now, I've been talking to Black Skies and their leadership. And, Black Skies has had like kind of a bad history for them, and for the most part, it's not most of their members' fault. It was, they had Alan, who is he's one of those type of members that he tends to be very very controversial. So Black Skies had a really bad name And they're not in a great position right now. They don't have an experienced government. They don't know what they're doing as much. But after talking to Big Boom for a while, me and actually Kills Bob were talking to him. He decided on bringing us in since we actually have a little bit more experience. I've had experience. I've been in Camelot when I was a top 10, and uh, I mean, if Nova counts for anything, I was there too, and I've been around the block in the game enough to somewhat know what I'm doing, and GGFU for a matter, which did get into the top 15 before I merged it into Camelot. So I know a thing or two about how alliances run. So I guess he figured that it would be a great help, and so we decided on a triumvirate, and we decided to move away from the Black Skies name, and so we went for an AC/DC theme, Thunderstruck. We don't see like enough themes that are like related to bands, right? Like I don't think anybody's really seen, not in the top 50 at least.
No, I believe there was a micro based off ACDC,
I'm gonna
different name.
reply
Many.
to Penguin.
There's a
Titan's second in command of, so it's not Black Skies anymore. It's Thunderstruck. Is the name. But Titan's second in command. He was second in command. It was Big Boom. Took over leadership after Alan left the game. I will make a remark too that Alan's departure of the game and situation revolving that was fucked. Like Alan didn't deserve that. I don't care how controversial you are in the game. You don't deserve to have you know that kind of doxing really is what it was. And that's just fucked. And whoever did that is should be like really ashamed of themselves. They're like worse automatically. They're just a terrible person. From what I
agreed.
understand, I don't know who that is, but like that's fucked.
Yeah, I can agree that it was horrible. All right, so you took over, rethemed, and it looks like Black Stars was dropped by TCW. Obviously, I did it myself as we entered the new sphere. So it ended up you guys assigned the fighting pacifists.
Yeah. So fighting pacifists were the first that we reached out to. We mainly because we thought that was probably our only path to realistically go. These bigger spheres were coalescing and they're militarizing at the time. They didn't seem likely to accept anybody into their spheres. Whereas TFP, it's not really much of a solidified sphere yet, or in any form or fashion right now. It's kind of got its own little subsections of it, for lack of a better word. And TFP has been signing a lot of treaties lately, so we figured it might be worth a shot. It was actually very quick. They were all for a treaty. The cheering fits too. We're kind of, a lot of us are very low tiered
Uh,
alliance. So it works out for us. We figured they would be there would be a lot of help there. And now recently, actually as of I believe this morning, we have signed uh, Waffle House and we have signed Dark Brotherhood.
Congratulations. Now, you signed TFP. I mean, pretty much immediately, you were hit by the good old Camelot. For a backstory, when Uriah left Camelot, God, 6 months ago now, 5 or 6 months ago,
Yeah,
he had
like 5 months ago.
taken the offshore, which was named Winter. The reason Camelot cares is it has the alliance ID of 8888 or had its best on style.
So to clarify, I took the offshore. I didn't take the bank in the offshore. I returned
Yeah,
that to Camel. I just took the alliance itself.
we just took the alliance and the alliance ID, which infuriated Epi very much so. Anyway, I guess between each side there was arguments or offers made to buy it, sell it, ransom, whatever you want to call it. They've been denied. So you go off, you sign TFP, and also signed to TFP is Camelot, correct?
Yes, Camelot is a MDOAP partner.
All right. So the first action your MDOP partner does is hit you.
Yeah, well, TFP's other.
Well, yeah.
I'll put it that way. Yeah, there was some diplomacy precluding that. Of course, it was pieced out for the most part. There's still some active wars going on that we're figuring out currently, but it was pieced out fairly quickly. And TFP helped, I guess, moderate those peace talks. They actually did a great job, I think, uh, in doing so and getting us together and figuring some sort of diplomatic situation out.
Fair enough. Fair enough indeed.
You're
Now,
right, Zig. It is a non-chaining treaty, but still, like this puts TFP in a spot where they have to kind of do something about it.
like, man, you're substitute. That's that's funny.
uh,
I
but
guess
yeah,
that depends on what state you live in. Say some states say that's illegal.
marrying stepsisters. Let's not get
Mhm.
into that.
Yeah, sorry. That could go to a
It's
completely
probably
different.
perfectly legal in my state. It's probably perfectly legal to
Mm,
marry your sister here. I don't fucking know.
Anyway, moving on. So, oh, you're in the wars. It was TFP. What was the negotiations basically?
So I can't really go into extreme details of what's happened there. What I can say is that we did come to an agreement not to really talk about the war, and then Epi proceeded to start talking about the war in Ron. So I guess that's out the window. Was But the agreement was, since this involved Winter, we were to delete Winter. Initially, he just wanted Winter back. I wouldn't accept any, like, we offered a few payment options, like I have in the past. There was like no real good reason for this war to happen. Um, you know, and we weren't gonna just lay down and just give it back to him. That's just not how I work. I don't really like get declared on and just get pushed around like that, get bullied like that. Preceding the war too, he didn't contact me directly. He contacted Kills Bob. He also contacted um, TFP government, and apparently we exhausted very quickly all our diplomatic solutions. So, and wars started coming in. I guess how I came about TFP managed to convince them to come to the table. We got in a group chat, started discussing. It was very quick peace talk. Um, but yeah, the terms were to not talk about the war, which I consider violated by. Actually, I'll post a screenshot here. It was actually something that was posted and run by Epi right, like 3 hours after. I was sitting or watching too. I have a screenshot. Hold on, I gotta find it again.
Okay.
It was in response to something that Thalmor asked him. And it's also extremely misleading. I actually want to go into that as well.
Okay, once you post it, let me know, and we can definitely dig it into it. Okay.
So,
So
like, Epi, when you say, since he's talking right now, when you say you're talking about the war here, when you say you're bringing your own opinion on what the war was about here, which was, it was a part of our agreement not to talk to about that. And then you, not only 3 hours later, and Ron just decided to respond to something which he didn't have to. He didn't have to say a word.
Okay, so basically the screenshot is saying, Epi, aka Camelot, you had something that they thought was quote unquote valuable, aka the Alliance Winter, and because Mystery Inc. refused to quote unquote negotiate with terrorists,
So, so like,
hold on, and then so basically because Winter refused or the Mystery refused to negotiate, um, he had to wait until you left into a new alliance to reopen the quote unquote negotiations, which is actually just him declaring war.
yeah, I mean, sorry, I was only half listening. I was looking in the chat. So, what are you? I'm curious here. What are these leaks you're talking about? I leaked important details to Ron. What is this? Like, do you have evidence of this? Do you? What in the hell are you talking about?
I think it was siren for every time.
You kind of have to like have some proof here.
Okay, so ignore Epi in chat. Continue your
All
story.
right.
It's just gonna actually confuse everybody.
So, I mean, it was very, very short. We decided that instead of anybody getting winter, we delete winter, and that's that. Like I guess the idea there was to delete the problem, and then there's no reason to fight over anything. And ultimately, it is a just an alliance ID. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it was a unique ID. I give it that. He could probably go to Alex to even get it back. Like, there's no like nothing stopping him from doing that. But I guess it was symbolism the way it was put, but to me, it's really petty, and almost it proves a point that it's this inability to drop a grudge of something from months ago that he could have just forgotten about and not cared about. And the moment he gets a chance, the moment he senses blood in the water of weakness, he strikes. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the story here. If Kills Bob wants to add anything to this, since he's like even like he's another leader, but he's like one that had no real connection to Winter in that regard, and uh, yeah,
So, sum it up. Basically, you took the Alliance ID and Alliance Winter, not the bank.
not the bank.
Kept it. You went to your new alliances. This was 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
he during that 5 or 6 months too, he had a approach, um, not me directly, but allies or people in the alliance I was a part of, ampersand, but not me, to try to get Winter back. He even offered $1 billion for it at one point, which I said no.
okay. So in the time, so you negotiated not directly through you or whatever. I believe I remember that was through hate, hate B, which is he's saying, she's saying $1 billion that he stole.
Yeah, he
Um.
he, he went through Happy, which like Happy had no relation. Happy couldn't really do anything, but yeah, whatever.
Anyway, yeah. All right, I remember that now. And
Yeah,
then, finally, he can't. He refuses to do anything about it apparently because you're Mystery Inc. And I guess we wouldn't negotiate with him to give it back. As soon as you leave into a smaller alliance, he hits the smaller alliance, which pretty much had nothing to do with it other than your personal connection
yeah,
to Winter. And
yeah.
then
That's pretty much the
TFP was able to step in and to mitigate and get you guys a solution.
Yeah, pretty much. I think TFB did a terrific job, at least moderating here, and they're still doing a good job. There was some shakiness to begin with, but mainly because they were confused on what's going on, which
Yeah.
I don't blame them. It's a
Doesn't-
weird reason to
Yeah.
go to war over.
Now, I mean, I can see fault everywhere. I mean, not it's a weird situation, and I definitely think it's petty at the very least. I actually told Uppy very clearly that the other day, but whatever. In the end of the day, as I said about Grumpy Guardian, if you're gonna use revenge as your CV, I guess so be it. But on that note, Epi, I can't unmute you if you wish to dispute anything, but if it turns into a fight, I mute everybody.
That's fair.
Unless it's an interesting fight, then you can say unmuted. Hashtag ratings. Can I fight?
If you mute me, you could switch out between me and mine.
You're clear now, Epi. I will give you a chance to decline the. I mean, this is a chance to dispute what he said. If you don't want to take the chance, the recording will close out, and this will be the record. I told you I'm offering to let you come say your side and not get into a fight. If you don't want to take it up, that I mean the pre-show, like I said, pre-show doesn't matter. This is going to be the record event.
He doesn't like being held accountable.
Fair enough.
No, this is typical Epi here. Can't even come on to a show.
All right. Well, for the record, Epimetheus, Leader Camelot, has declined to comment or dispute the events that have occurred. All right, and that brings us to 10:42. We're gonna go ahead and go final call for questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and poke them now. Otherwise, forever hold your peace for 1 week. Oh, I have to scroll up.
If it's 1 week, it is George. It may be 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be 1 week. There's actually a war happening now, so there's actually something.
There's something interesting to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I got too many people in the Mile Club already. Sorry. All right. Whoever does the anthem, go ahead and play us out.
Uh, 1 second.
All right. And thank you everybody for stopping by. Hopefully the war will be fabulous and toxic, so we can have a nice show next week.
I'm ready.
Remember, toxicity makes the game fun. Not really. I do not support toxicity. Salt makes the game fun.